Okay, and welcome everyone. If you can hear me, can you give me a thumbs up in the chat section? Today we have a lot to do. We have about close to 10 major questions to look at, and all those questions cut across various topics that we need to refresh our minds with. My name is Dominic Logusu. So today we'll be looking at some past questions, some math questions surrounding certain topics like vectors, statistics, inequalities, linear inequalities, angles, which is the same as plane geometry, and some form of business math. We'll also look at a few other ones surrounding total surface area, volume of a cylinder, and all that. We'll also be looking at mean, how to calculate mean. We'll also be looking at how to use the Pythagoras theorem formula to answer a question like this, as you can see on your screen. If you can hear me, can you give me a thumbs up so that I'll know that everything is fine before we start. We start at exactly 1 p.m. For students of Richard School, can you prompt your mates to be here? We are supposed to be almost 80 watching this at 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock now, but I have only 9 students watching. So kindly prompt your mates that the class has actually started, and then we won't really wait for anyone, because I believe in discipline, and when a time is given for you to come for a class, it's for your own good, so you need to make time to be present. Thank you very much for joining me. So without wasting time, our questions are going to be on the left hand side of the board, whilst we do the solutions on the right hand side of the board. By any means possible, kindly prompt me if something is not clear in the chat section, so that we can rectify it and all move forward together. Okay, so our very first question is statistics, and then I think there's a bit of business math added to it. Okay, statistics, and there's a bit of business math added to it. Should I go ahead? If you think I should go ahead, or I should wait for the others to join. I don't know if it's my internet or how many people are watching. I think 9. Okay, 13 now, so it means they are joining. Kindly prompt them. Some people need a little push to be serious in life, so kindly prompt them so that they can join, and then we can have a successful class, because we all need to be on the same page. If those people don't join you later, when I have to teach other things that we've not done, I'll be forced to go back, and to end up wasting my time and your time. So kindly keep them on their toes, let them join, so that we can have a successful class. Without wasting time, we will start. So the very first question is actually a statistics question. So what's going to happen is that when we pick the question, we'll try and talk about all the concepts around the statistics question, and then all the methods we need to look at. I'll also try and explain certain things. So for the very first question you see on your screen, we've been asked to find the modal age. We've been asked to calculate to 2 decimal place the mean age of the students, and there's a sub question with question B, and it's saying that one talks about, it has to do with some form of business math. Okay, fantastic. So without wasting time, I'm just going to choose let me see, a bright marker. Let me use, okay, I think the blue will be okay. So with this one, what we need to do quickly is that for the very first part of the question, you don't really need to draw your frequency table before you can answer the modal age. Modal is the same as mode. A mode is the highest occurring in terms of frequency, the highest occurring in terms of frequency. So the frequency is the same as the number of, so if it is number of students, the one with the highest number of students. If you are dealing with the number of items, the one with the highest number of items in the data that has been given. So it could be in the data that is I don't know, I'm trying to monitor with my phone, but I think I get a black screen. I don't know if you can see whatever is happening and you are okay. Please give me a thumbs up. At least that one comes, so that I'll know that everything is okay, because I can't see my screen on my phone. I think it's my internet or something. I don't know what's going on. So kindly give me a thumbs up, at least if one person. Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's good. So 2 people. Okay, So it means everything is fine now, so we can continue. So modal is the same as mode, okay? So with this one, the first question, which is the I, we don't even need to do our frequency table before we even answer that particular question. So we can go ahead and state that modal age equals 13 years. Now it is very important that when you are stating the answers to this, you make reference to the unit that has been given, and the unit that has been given is years. So we don't want to see 13 without any form of unit attached to it. Okay, so if you are dealing with measurements and you have measurements into brackets centimeters, your answer should have centimeters attached to it. Now a good thing is that the frequency or the number of items presented to us is going to help us determine which one is the modal. Now when we look at it closely, the highest of them is 10. That doesn't mean 10 is your answer. It is the age which has the highest that's going to be your answer. So if you look at it closely, our answer for the very first part should be modal. Sorry, this is O. Let me just clean this quickly. Modal age equal 13 years. Modal age equal 13 years. You can write your answer this way, it's accepted as long as you equate it and then you have the unit with which is the years attached to it. Okay, you can equate it this way. Now another thing too is that if you don't want it this way, you can write a statement for it. So in a statement, the modal age is equal to 13, or the modal age is 13 years. That's a perfect statement you can write. But if you write this, it is actually correct. So I'm going to mark myself correct, and then we are going to move on. So that is our I. So let's say we've solved our I, we are going to go to our II. Now with our II, they are saying we should find the mean age. You realize that they don't say mean, they don't say modal, they don't say mode. They add the age to it. So it basically means that when you are answering and you have your answer, you can't just write mean is equal to no. You have to state mean age. So these are some of the little things that examiners take the opportunity to mark students down with. So let's be careful as we prepare, okay? As we prepare for remember BEC for Form 2s now is going to be next year, and next year is just some months away. So we have to actually prepare well. And then for those who are going to be writing the BEC a few weeks, I think on the 14th, we wish you the very best. Thank you for being here. I know one or two people are watching from that category. So let's move to the II. The II is stating that we should find the mean age. And then with the mean age, there's another condition that has been given. And that condition states that the mean age should be in 2 decimal places. So I'll quickly explain what 2 decimal places. Now, if I have a decimal, if I have this, and then I have another one which is, okay, let me use numbers. And I have another one which is maybe 24.4023. This is in 2 decimal place. This is 1 decimal place. And this is 4 decimal place. Now, how do you know? 2 decimal place basically means after the decimal point from your left to your right, after the decimal point, you should have only 2 digits there. Okay, decimal digits there. So with this one, we have 2 decimal digits here. This one, we have 1 decimal digit. And then this one, we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 decimal digits. So with this one, it will be in reference to what? 4 decimal place, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place. So when they say 2 decimal place, that's what it means. So it basically means if you do your calculation and then you get 20, let's assume you get 24.4023. It means you need to round off to 2 decimal place to present your answer in 2 decimal place. What will happen if you don't present your answer in 2 decimal place? Marks will be taken, trust me. So let's do due diligence in order to ensure that we get all our marks. So to move on, normally with frequency table, you only do frequency table when the data has been given in a raw state. What do I mean by a raw state? When you see 1, 4, 3, 2, 5, 1, 4, that is a raw data, and then you have to put in a table form. Now what happens when, and then you have to do tally for it. That's the one that you have to, is a must, you do tally for it. But what happens if the data is already presented in a table form, a simple frequency table form? What happens is that because we are looking for mean, and then with mean we need calculations like fx and f. in order to be able to use the formula for finding the mean in order to get our mean, then it basically means that we need to do some form of table. So I'm going to construct my table quickly, and then let's assume this is my table. Okay, so I'm going to construct my table quickly. Now with this table, we don't need a tally because the question came with a table. If the question was in a raw data state, then we can go ahead and say that, okay, we need to do a tally. But if your question is a raw, is in a table form already, you don't need to do the tally. Okay, you don't need to do the tally. So once we have, we've established that that is okay, so we'll quickly go ahead and then simplify the table. So with this one, we'll have our age, and then we'll have our frequency, and then we have our fx. The age is represented by x, the frequency is represented by f. Then we have our age to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I know some of you are conversant with this particular topic, but pay attention because I'll be pinpointing some things that you might actually you have forgotten, or maybe you are not in the knowing of. Okay, so let's pay attention. So we have our frequency. Now when we look for our frequency is the same as the number of students. So we'll have 5, 1, 7, 10, 3, 4. Okay, we'll have that. Now having that, basically we need to find our fx. But before we find our fx, I want us to actually state the formula for finding the mean age. And then mean is x with a dash on top of it. That's the symbol for it. And the formula is sigma fx over f. Sigma f. Okay, which means what frequency multiplied by the age should give us sigma fx. So we'll do that calculation on the side, and then we'll get all those values. Now let's be careful. When you get your frequency, double check it, because once your frequency is wrong, it's going to affect your how do you call it, your calculations for the mean. If you get your frequency, you double check quickly to ensure that your frequency is correct. How do you double check? If you have a raw data, okay, what all you need to do is to actually count the number of data that has been given to you, and then the number of data that has been given to you should be equal to your frequency. It's the same as with this one. With this one, you just need to do some form of addition in order to get your answer. So double check it. Now with this one, doing the calculation, I should get 30. Kindly confirm if you've gotten 30 in the chat section. And then let's quickly do this calculation. So this will give us 50. This will give us 11. This will give us 84. Yep. Be confirming the calculations for me in the chat section quickly. This should give us 130. This should give us 42. Yep. And this should give us 60. Okay. So now let's see if we can do the total fx. Let's see if we can do the total fx. Now with the total fx, let's try and see if we can get the calculation. So 50, 11, 84. Okay. That will give us 130, 42, 60. Okay. So that should give us 377. So having this, we are now going to just fix this answers in this values in our formula. So fixing this value in our formula quickly. Okay, so people are confirming my calculations. That's fantastic. People are confirming my calculations. That's good. So we'll quickly just bring our equal sign. Let me just go back and choose the yellow. We'll quickly bring our equal sign, and then we'll just, then again, please be careful, always cross check, ensure that your mean can never be below 1. Why am I saying below 1? When you do, when a mistake like this happens and you realize that your mean is below 1, then it means you have done something wrong. Your mean can never be below 1. Why can't it be below 1? Because always your sigma fx is always going to be larger than your sigma f. So when you are solving something like this and you get your mean to be below 1, then it means you have an error. And most of the time students forget and they actually state the formula for finding mean as sigma f over sigma fx, because they don't want to deal with breaking down and cancellation and then maybe probably doing long division and all that. When you do this, you get your mean to be below 1. And once you get your mean to be below 1, your answer is wrong. Okay, so let's ensure and always cross check. When you are done and you see your mean is above 1, how will you know that it's above 1? When the denominator is smaller compared to the numerator, then it means you have the right mean or you've done the right thing. So it becomes 377 divided by 30. Okay, 377 divided by 30. So let's quickly do that long division. If I should do that long division, we should get 12 point something. 12.566. 12.566. So getting 12.566 is the correct answer, but there was a condition given in the question, and that condition marks are going to be attached to it. It doesn't mean that when you get a 12.566 you are wrong, but there was an extra condition given for this particular answer, and that extra condition given is that you should leave your answer in 2 decimal places. I've already explained what 2 decimal places or what a decimal place is. So with this one, when we look at it closely, it is 3 decimal places. So we have to change it to 2 decimal places, which basically means that we are going to run off to 2 decimal places. Now, running off to 2 decimal places means that we just need 2 digits here. So it means we have to try and get rid of the 6. We can't just remove the 6 because the 6 is greater than 5. Or it's 5 and above, so it's actually going to affect the next one if you need to remove this 6. Okay, let me change the marker so that if you need to remove this 6. Okay, so removing this 6, 5 and above, it means we need to add plus 1 to this, so it becomes what? 12.57. And then you can state that you have done it in 2 decimal places. So in 2 decimal places, that's our answer. If you are okay with this, let me see some thumbs up in the chat section. If you also want to copy this, you can do so. So that we can move to the next statement. So you have just 30 seconds to look through to see which one you need to copy. But aside that, the questions have been posted in Google Classroom. I'll also paste it in the description of this video so that later when you want to refer to it or try your hands on it, you can get access to it. So fantastic. I'm getting some thumbs up, so which means that we need to move on. Now moving on, we have B. Question B. Question B states that rice is sold at 56 Ghana cedis per bag of 50 kilos. So there's a condition here. So for every 50 kilo, the price is 56 Ghana cedis per bag. A trader bought the same rice and paid this 1,344 Ghana cedis. How many bags of rice did the trader buy? So with this one, we know the price per unit. This is the price per unit that has been given to us. Okay, price per unit basically means price per one item or price per a bag. Okay, price per one item or price per a bag. And then the trader actually bought some number of bags of rice, but we don't know the number, but we know the total amount he or she paid. So now they are saying that one, we should find the number of bags the trader bought. So in order to do so, we need to know the price per unit of the rice. Okay, so let me do Ghana cedi. Let me do this well quickly. Okay, Ghana cedi. So this will give us 1 unit. Okay, now we have the amount he or she paid, which is 1,344. This 0.00 is not needed, so you can choose not to bring it, but you don't include it in your calculations, because if you include it in your calculations and you're not that conversant with it, you might make mistakes. So you can get rid of the 00. Let me just clean it so that it doesn't confuse anyone. Okay, so once we have that, now the 56 Ghana cedis gives us 1 bag. 1,344 gives us how many bags? We don't know. Okay, now we are going to use what we call if more or less divide to help us solve this. How do we do this if more or less divide? Now, wherever you fix the variable that you don't know determines the rule for if more or less divide, if less more divide. So in reference to the x, that is where the variable is. In reference to the x, 56 gave us 1. 1344 should give us more. So it means x is more. If x is more, then less should divide the value of x. I'm going to take it again so that we'll get the understanding. 56 gave us 1 bag. Now, if 56 gave us 1 bag, 1344, that's 1344, should give us more bags. It should give us at least more than 1 bag. We know, obviously, because 1344 is more than 56 Ghana cedis. Okay, so if 1344 refers to the x, and now we are saying that this 1344 will give us more bags, then it basically means that the x is more. If the x is more, then the less should divide, and then the less here is the 56. The x is being represented by 1344, and then the less is being represented by what? 56. The other value, which is this 1, should multiply. So any other value you get after doing your if more less divide, you should actually just use it to multiply whatever you have. So once we have this, we can quickly go ahead to do our breakdown. Someone should quickly do our breakdown for us in the chat section. If not, let me just quickly do it because of time, because we've already done 20 minutes. We have about 10 questions to go. So that's why I advise that you should eat something before you join us for this particular class. So let's, okay, so this should give us 24. So 24 bags. So that's not 24 bags. Okay, so with this one, another thing you need to do is that one, you don't just write 24. So you just say therefore 1344 Ghana cedis can buy 24 bags, or therefore the trader bought 24 bags of rice at a price of 1,354 cedis. Kwame Owusu Ewa is saying 25, but I think per my calculation is 24. If anyone, okay, fantastic, he has corrected himself. Thank you very much, Kwame. Okay, so 24 bags. Now let's go to the next sub question. Now let's pay attention to the sub question. If the trader retailed, if the trader retailed the bag of rice at 1.4 or 1 cedi 40 pesos per kilo, how much profit did the trader make? So let's look at the profits. Now this is the profit for the trader per bag. Once you see per kilo, this is the profit for the trader per kilo. It means that you see those people, when you go to their shops, they have this can that they actually fetch the rice and then they use it to measure for you. They don't sell the bag to you outright. People don't buy the bag anyway. In my country, sometimes they just buy the quantity. So in order to find the per kilo, let's look. So if the person is actually selling this for per kilo, then let's look at the retail price of a full bag. 1 kilo is being sold at what? 1 kilo is being sold at 1 cedi 40 pesos. So 50 kilos, a bag of rice is 50 kilos. For this particular rice, the bag is 50 kilos. So 50 kilos should give us, how do you call it? 50 kilos should give us what? So that's what we need to calculate, okay? So we are going to look at the cost price of 1 kilo. We're going to look at the cost price of 1 kilo. Then when we are done looking at the cost price of 1 kilo, we will actually look for the profits made when it is sold at, because maybe this is the selling price of it. Okay, so we have to look for the cost price. Once we get a cost price, then we can now calculate for the profit. Okay, this is the selling price, but we want to look at the cost price. Now the cost price for this one is 50 kilos. Okay, is per 50 kilos, but I want to look at it per 1 kilo. So let's quickly do that. So if I have 50 kilos, we are calculating the cost price, please. So if I have 50 kilos, giving me 56 Ghana cedis, okay, then 1 kilo should give me, I don't know, 1 kilo should give me less than that. So if less, the x is less. If less, more should divide. It's going to be If less, more should divide. So it's going to be 1 over 50 times what? 56. Okay, so in doing that calculation, it becomes 56 over 50, and when we do our breakdown, we should get 112. 112. We flip decimal places, we should get 1 CD 12 pesos. Okay, so this is our cost price. So now we have our cost price. Let me put CP here, cost price to be 1, this, and then we have our selling price, which is this one. Okay, so let me go over the whole thing again. Now let's analyze this well. I go and buy 50 kilos of rice for 56 cedis. And then I come and sell 1 kilo for 1 CD 40 pesos. So that's my selling price. 1 CD 40 pesos is my selling price. Now I want to know the profit I made. In order to know the profit I will make or I made, I'd have to know the cost price of 1 kilo when I bought it for 56 cedis for 50 kilos. And that's the calculation we've done. So the cost price for 1 kilo when we bought it for 56 cedis for 50 kilos is 1 CD 12 pesos. And we sold it at 1 CD 40 pesos. So let's now write selling price equals cost price plus profit. I hope you all agree with me in terms of this definition. So selling price minus what? Cost price should give me profit. So if I have my selling price to be 1 CD 40 pesos, I subtract my cost price, which is 1 CD 12 pesos. Then I can actually do this subtraction and get my answer. Let's do the subtraction here. So please, let's all look at this side. Sorry, the board is a bit clumsy. So we have 140 and then 1 point. Please, so anytime you are doing addition or subtraction of decimals and it involves decimals, you align the decimals and you do it. But when it is multiplication, we are not really bothered about the alignment. So with this one, we need to borrow. So we'll borrow from here. This will give us 3. This becomes 10. We subtract 8. Now with this one, 3, we'll get 2, and then this one will be 0. So it basically means our profit, the man or the woman is making 28 pesos as what? Profit. 28 pesos as profit. Now, if you decide to state the money, when you do 0.28, then you have to bring Ghana cedi. Or when you do 28, you just have to bring GP, which is Ghana pesos. So let's take note of that. Okay, let's take note of that. But if you do 0.28 pesos, some examiners should mark it for you. So that brings us to the end of the very first set of questions. We are going to move to the next set of questions, and I think the next set of questions has to do with what? Vectors. But before I go, if you have any issues, kindly let me know in the chat section so that we can resolve it before we move to the next question. Any issues from the chat section? Any issues? If you don't have any issues and you're okay, can you give me a thumbs up so that I can move forward? Can you give me a thumbs up so that I can move forward? Thumbs up. I'm waiting for the thumbs up so that we can move. Okay. So a few people are okay. Just one person has actually responded to that. So I'm waiting for the rest. Okay, so we are going to move to the next set of questions. We're going to move to the, okay, I have a few. Okay, fantastic. Those who responded late, I think your internet is delayed. So I think Catherine Loco's internet is better. So she was able to answer on time. That's just by the way. Okay, so our next set of questions, we have vectors question. Now with this vectors question, we are just going to apply our knowledge of linear equations to solve it. When we look at it closely, they are saying if m equals 2x vector what? 2x plus 1, 2 minus what? 3x. And n equals 6, negative 8. And m plus n equals 9, negative 12. Then find the value of x and y. Find the value of x and y. Find the value of x and y. Now, so quickly you go through this and then you quickly identify where you can see x. So I can see x here, I can see y here. those are the values they are saying that I should find. Those are the values that they are saying I should find. So quickly, when we look at it, what is going to help us is this condition. They are saying if I add this and this, I should get this. So if I should write it in a simple equation form, it basically means what? M plus n, which has already been done for me, is equal to this. So now wherever I see m, I'm going to fix this vector there. Wherever I see n, I'm going to fix this vector there. So let me do that quickly. Let me change the color of my marker and then do that. So doing that becomes vector this plus then that the other vector comes 6 negative 8, okay, equal, then I have 9 negative 12. Now they are saying I should find the value of x and I should find the value of what? Y. Now when you look at it closely, one thing about vectors is that everything on top represents x. The top ones, and everything down here represents what? Y. So quickly separate it. If you get the clue, kindly start solving so that we can know the value of x. When you get the value of x, let me know in the chat section, but I'm also going to do that calculation. So doing that calculation, I'll change the marker to yellow to solve for x. So finding x, we are going to separate the equation. So you can decide to put in a bracket, that's fine, so that I don't get confused. So that is it. So let's solve for x first. So since it is addition, we can get rid of the bracket. So it becomes 2x plus 1 plus 6 equals 9. Please always put in a bracket because some of them might have negatives, and if you don't put in a bracket, it will be very difficult for you to resolve that. Okay, so once we have this, we'll go ahead and then simplify it. We'll get 7 because 1 plus 6 is 7 equals 9. And then we'll go ahead to do 2x equals what? 9. That 7 comes here to subtract. Then we'll have what? 2 here, and we'll have 2x here. We'll actually have to find the value of x, not 2x. So we'll do some form of cancellation. This should give us 1, 1. And then when we find the same thing over the same thing should give us 1. So the answer is 1. So the value of x is 1. Now let's take the second set and then we'll solve that second set. I'm going to choose a blue marker to represent the second set, which will be the value of y. So that's going to give me 2, let me put in a bracket, 2 minus 3y plus into brackets negative what? 8. That's why it's important to put them in brackets at the initial stage before you release the brackets. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I think people got the answer. The answer is x equals 1. Fantastic. So now we are going to get rid of the brackets, but we have to do it tactfully. Now, getting rid of the brackets, this addition, subtraction, so at the end of the day, it's going to be subtraction. So it becomes 2 minus 3y minus 8 equals minus 12. Let me just put the minus there, minus 12. Once we have this, we are going to simplify. So to simplify, we can state that negative 3y plus 2 minus 8 equals minus 12. Now, when if you are confused with this, don't be confused with this, okay? Or you can, this same thing can be written as this. Or if you prefer, you can actually send them to the other side. So you can also decide to do it this way. Negative 3y, negative 12. The 2 is positive, so when it comes here, it's coming to subtract. That's 2. And then the 8 is negative, so when it comes here, it's coming to what? Add. This should give you negative 14 plus 8. And then 3y. Okay? Then when we do our subtraction, we should get negative 6. And then we should have this. We're going to divide both sides by negative 3 because we are looking for y, not negative 3y. So we divide both sides by negative 3. This negative cancels this negative cancels this negative, this 3 cancels this 3. 3 will go here, 1, 3 will go here, 2. So to write this properly becomes y equals what? 2. Okay, I can see some people have the answers. That's good. Fantastic. So y is equal to what? 2. Y is equal to 2. So we've established now with this one, all these gimmicks and plenty things is just to answer I. Okay, so we've answered I. Now they are saying that find the components of M. What do we mean by find the components of M? If this is M, and now we know the value of X, we know the value of Y. Now find the components, which means that we want an M that looks like this. We don't want variables in it. So all you need to do is that to do the I, you just have to write this down, which has already been given in the question. And wherever, because now you know your value for X and your value for Y, wherever you see X, you fix in your value that you found. So it becomes into bracket 2 plus 1, and then this will be the answer in the chat section. Quickly, what will be the answer? So joining that, this should give me 2 plus 1, that's 3, and then we'll have 2 minus 6. Okay, solving that, we solve math vertically, but because of space, I don't want to eat into this question's space, so I'm going this way. Okay, so in solving that, we'll have 3 minus 4. So the component of M is 3 minus 4. Fantastic. So that is it for the vectors question. If you have any questions, kindly ask in the chat section. Derek, Kofi, please, vectors, they are not fractions, so remove the fraction bar. You put the fraction bar in the chat section. No, remove the fraction, but you can write it in a point form, which is 3 comma negative 4 is acceptable. Okay, 3 comma negative 4. Fantastic. So that's what we have. That's the answer. If you have the same answer, thumbs up. We'll quickly move to linear inequalities. Linear inequalities. So with linear inequalities, what will happen is that this is a bit complex because of the fractions and all that. So I'll take this opportunity to quickly explain. Okay, explain the whole concept, and then we'll call it. If someone is saying graph work, don't worry, graph work, we'll do it. Okay, this has come to stay. Every Saturday, even when we are on vac, we'll still be doing it, except for days that maybe I might not be available. That's why we will not do it. But once we write our exams as students of Richard School and we go on a long vac, we'll be doing this. Okay. Okay, so fantastic. So now let's look at the linear inequalities. Linear inequalities, I'm going to, because it's going to be a long one, I would have to clean and create space. So pardon me, I want to clean and create space for this. Sorry about that. I think, let me just clean and make the place neat. Oops. Okay, so I think we are good to go. Let me clean this one too. Fantastic. Okay, so linear inequalities. Now, linear inequalities, what happens is that, let me just write the question here. Linear inequalities, the first thing when you see a linear inequalities that has fractions in them is to count the number of terms you have in the linear inequalities. It's very, very important, okay? And we've actually discussed this several times. Now, when you see brackets fusing with fractions, they are taken to be one term, okay? So, an example, if I should change the color of the marker, let me use a pink. Oh, come on. Let me use a pink marker. Okay, so this is a term. This is also, I'm going to change the color. Okay, I think that the color is not changing. So this is one term. This is another term because of addition. And so what separates the term is addition and subtraction, okay? So because this one, we have a lot of them here. We have x plus 1, and then we have 3/4. But because of the brackets, we take all these ones to be one term. This is also another term, and this is also another term. So we have 4 terms. Why do we need to know the number of terms? We need to know the number of terms because we need to actually find the LCM, and once we find the LCM, we need to use that LCM to multiply each of the terms, and at the end of the day, it's going to help us break down the denominators of these fractions, and then we can get a simple linear equation and then we solve. Now we can't just introduce the LCMs to the fractions point, because when we do that, then we will end up devaluing the 1 and the 5, which might not have a denominator that can actually break down the LCM we have. So once we know the term, the next thing we need to do is to actually find the LCM. The LCM, basically, you just have to look at the denominators we have, the evident denominators. We know that 1 here is over 1, we know that 5 here is over 5, but that's not what we want. We want the denominators that are visible and obvious. That is 4 and 2. The LCM for 4 and 2 is 4. I know some people will go ahead and go and choose 8 by multiplying 2 with 4. Now when you do that, you increase the size of your linear inequalities, and you have to do a lot of breakdowns in order to simplify to get the final answer. Okay, so always stick to the least common multiple, not a common multiple. There's a difference between a common multiple and the least common multiple. Assuming I have 2 and 3. 2 and 3, the LCM is 6. But someone can go ahead and write 12. Someone will also go ahead and write a whole lot, 18 and all that, okay? But we want the least common multiple, which will be 6. So with this one, the least common multiple is 4, because 2 can go into 4 and 4 can go into 4. So that's the least common multiple. Fantastic. So once we have that, all we need to do is to pick the least common multiple and multiply it with each term. And we have 4 terms, so it means we are going to be doing some four multiplications. Okay, so in order to do so, we'll put the 4 in bracket, and then we'll have 3 over 4 into bracket x plus 1. And then we'll have plus into bracket 4, 1. Remember, once bracket, it means multiplication. So into bracket 1 over 2 x minus 2 plus 4. We are putting that in bracket 5. Okay. Now, once we have that, let me see if I choose the color, it will change. Okay. The color has refused to change, so we will just stick with how do you call it? The blue. So once we have that, we'll go ahead and cancel. 2 here, 1, 2 here, 2. So we'll have that. This will be 1, so it becomes 3 into bracket x plus 1, and then 4, and then we'll have this. Please be looking so that if I have any error, you inform me. 2 times 1 will give us 2x minus 2 plus what, 20. Fantastic, more. Okay, so now we just go ahead to expand. So expanding, we should get 3x plus 1 plus 4 less than or equal to 2x minus 4 plus what, 20. Then we'll go ahead to do some form of simplification. So 3x minus 2. Okay. Then we'll have negative 4 plus what, 20. It's always better to write what is already there before you introduce what you'll be bringing later. So this one will be minus 1 minus 4. When we do our subtraction, we should get x, and then with this one, this should give us, you owe 4 cedis, you have 20, 16, and then you owe 16, right? Okay, so let me write. Now you have 16 cedis, and then when I do this, you owe 5 cedis, so we subtract. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. So this is an error I made when I multiplied the 3. I didn't multiply with the 1, and I am actually happy that I did this error, because most students have been doing it anytime I mark. Okay, so it basically means that this place we need to put 3 there. So let me just remove all this. Okay, so let's expand. Now expanding, please. So what you can do is that, I don't know why I can't change. Okay, it has changed now. What you do is that when you want to expand, and in order not to forget anything, you can introduce the arrow to it, so that to show that you need to multiply for both. So this one will give us 3x plus 3 plus 4. Okay. and then 2x minus 2. So let me just expand straight away. Let me just expand quickly. Okay, so let me remove the brackets. Please let me know if the blue marker is okay. Okay, so it becomes 2x minus 4 plus 2. So this one, the 2 multiplied, and then this 2 will multiply the 2. Okay. Thumbs up if you the blue marker, the light blue marker. Let me see if I can select any other. Okay, fantastic. It's working now. That's okay. So now this is the correct expansion. Okay, this is the correct expansion. So please, that error is very common. It has happened to me. It can happen to anyone. That error is very common, especially with some of the works I've been marking relating to complex natures of linear inequalities like this. You can make that error. So always, let's just try and see if we can be introducing the arrow to ensure that we don't miss any expansion. So having this, we can go ahead and do our grouping like terms. So remember that grouping like terms we had, okay, so I said you write the numbers that were there before you introduce the other numbers. So for this one, that 3 minus 3 minus 4. Why are they minus? Because they are addition here. So when it comes to this side, they will become how do you call it? Subtraction. Okay. So once we do that, when we do our subtraction, we'll get x, and then this will give us 16. 16 minus 7, that's 9. So that's 9. Sorry, let me just take my time to break it down for you. So this one, you owe 4 cedis. Negative means you owe 4 cedis. But when you have 20 cedis, so when you pay, you end up having 16 cedis extra. Then later you owe 3 cedis, you owe 4 cedis, so in all you owe 7 cedis. When we do the subtraction, we'll get 9. You have 9 cedis after you've paid, because 16, positive 16 means you have, and then negative 7 means you owe. Okay, so you have 9 cedis. Now the question goes ahead to say that we should illustrate our answer on a number line. We should illustrate our answer on a number line. Some questions will go ahead to say that what is the truth set, or write the truth set for the linear inequalities above. So this one, they didn't tell us to write the truth set, but I'm just going to use this to explain the concept of truth sets. Truth set, okay? Sorry. So what will happen is that we'll have a curly bracket. The variable you are using, this variable is x. So you bring that variable a column, and then you have your answer, and then you just close the curly bracket. Another thing we need to take note of is that should you have a negative variable, it means that the sign should change if you have a negative variable. Assuming we solved and we happen to have negative x, the sign here is going to change direction. So instead of less than or equal to, it will now become greater than or equal to. So let's take note of that. Let me just clean this so that it doesn't confuse anyone. Okay, so we've established that. Now they are saying that we should illustrate our answer on a number line. So you take your ruler and you draw your number line beautifully. Okay, just like I have my number line drawn here beautifully. And then do not stress to go and be doing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then negative or negative. No. Just look at the answer you had. You had 9. So you just have to do the middle, which would be your 0. Then you do a positive 9 and a negative 9. Okay? And a negative 9. Positive 9 and negative 9. We all know where the... Okay, so Derek is asking a question. What if the 9 is a negative? When the 9 is a negative, it will not affect the sign. It is when the variable is a negative that it affects the direction of the inequality sign. Okay, so for the value, it will not affect it. But for the variable, if it is a negative, if it turns out to be a negative, it will not affect it. So that is the number line. Now with the number line, the key thing is that the direction of the linear inequality sign should actually help you answer this. Okay, should actually help you answer this. Now, if I should shoot an arrow and I want to use this sign to be my arrow, okay, So your inequality sign, just write it somewhere, okay? Your answer, write it somewhere, and then try and trace or turn your inequality sign to an arrow head. So when I turn into an arrowhead, this is how it's going to look like, and this is how the tip of the arrow, or where the tip of the arrow will be pointing to. The tip of the arrow will be pointing towards this side. My answer is positive, so I'll go to positive 9, draw a circle, and because of the tip, the arrowhead I drew from the answer, it is facing what? The left. So I'll just, from after the circle, I'll just draw, this line is really crooked, so I'll just draw a straight line, and then I'll put my arrowhead to be the same as the arrowhead I drew for my sample to know the direction of it. Okay, once I'm done with that, I have to go back and check the answer again. Is it just less than, or it is less than or equal to? When it is less than or equal to, then we need to shade the circle we've drawn on the 9. Okay, and then once you are done with that, that is it. It doesn't matter if you extend your arrow all the way to this side. No, it doesn't matter. Once it is visible and then the direction has been shown, then you are okay. Okay, once it is visible and the direction has been shown, you are okay. So that is it for the second set. We are going to move to the third set of questions. And the third set of questions, if you don't have any question, you are okay with this, please give me a thumbs up in the chat section. But for the second set of questions, we have plane geometry, which is the same as angles. I know most of you don't like, so we are going to take our time to break it into pieces so that you can understand it. Plane geometry, and then we have some few other calculations we need to look at. Okay, so with plane geometry, basically what we are going to do is, okay, so people are okay, that's awesome. So with the plane geometry, what we need to do is that we're going to go over some principles relating to plane geometry, and then we are going to refresh our minds on those principles. Once we are able to refresh our minds on those principles, then we can go ahead and then fantastic, because I'm going to use it to do whole thing. Okay, then we can go ahead and then use that to answer. But I'm going to use that, I'm going to fix the principles, or I'm going to surround the principles with this particular topic that we are doing. Okay, so with the plane geometry, we have this question. They are saying we should find the value of x. First of all, let's identify where x is. This is where x is. And remember, x was not just x, it's 2x. So it means that when we are done, we need to do something to the 2x in order to get x. Fantastic. Now, every single thing, every single detail in this has a reason. These arrowheads, they have their reason. These stripes, they have their reason why they are there. It's not just for decorations. So anytime you have a question like this, that's what you should be looking out for, because they actually change how you should answer this question. They actually change what principles you need to apply in order to get the answer to these questions. So without wasting time, we will just go. Now the arrow, the stripes on this, okay, tells us that we are dealing with what? An isosceles triangle. And an isosceles triangle basically means that what? It has two angles in that particular triangle being equal. An isosceles triangle basically means that it has two angles in that particular angle to be equal. So if we are dealing with an isosceles triangle, when we see the stripes, where are those two triangles found? How do we locate those two triangles that are said to be equal in the triangle that we have seen on the screen, or the triangle we have on the screen? Basically, we have two parts. Okay, we have two parts on the screen forming the triangle. We have the part that goes this way, and then we have the one that goes this way. The part that we choose will actually help us know which of the angles in the triangle are equal. Now, how do we know? The part that goes and then those two lines intersect, no, we don't want that part, because that part is not going to help us identify those two. And that part is what? Going upstairs. When we go upstairs, it will intersect, so we don't want that. Now, the part that moves away from each other are the parts that we need to take. So that part will be this going down, And then when we go down, you realize that we'll meet an angle, we'll meet an angle. Those are the two angles that are equal. Those are the two angles that are equal. Now, those two angles have not been given. They've not even given us its supplementary angle, which is even going to help us get that angle. But there's a principle that we can apply. Because of these two arrowheads, we can apply a principle called alternating angles. Alternating angles are basically angles formed when we have a Z-shaped form. So when we have an angle here, A, that angle A should be equal to the angle here, which means that this angle can also be called what? A. Once we have this arrowheads on the line. And then you realize that we have this arrowheads, which shows that we can easily get an alternating angle here by looking for a Z shape or an N shape. Okay, so by looking for a Z shape or an N shape, I think we can find a Z shape here. So it basically means that what? This angle should be equal to the angle here. So it means this one to be 56. If this angle is 56, and we are saying that because of these two stripes, this angle and this angle are equal, then it means that this place is also 56. Okay, then we can go ahead and say this angle is 56, this angle is 56, this angle is what? 2x. When we add all these three angles, we should get 180. So let's do that addition. And that addition, we will realize that we'll have only one variable. And once you have just a variable in an equation, you can find the value of that variable. So 2x plus 56 plus 56 should be equal to 180. Why 180? 180 basically because the angle in the total angle in a triangle is equal to what? 180. And the number of angles in a triangle is always 3. So 3 angles in a triangle, when you sum them up, you should get what? 180. Hence, we have this equation. Once we start doing our calculation and we add, we should get 112. Someone should check that for me to see if it is correct. We should get 112. And then we simplify our equation. Once we have that 112, we are going to do some form of subtraction. And then we'll have 2x. Now, when we do our subtraction, let me see, 68. Someone should check that also for me. Okay, Elon has confirmed. Okay, so 68. Someone should check that for me to see if it's correct. I think it's correct. So once we do that, we just have to divide both sides by 2 to get the value of x. Dividing both sides by 2, this will cancel. 2 go here, 1, 2 go here. Let me see, 34. Check that also. Fantastic. Okay, 34. Now remember, the x is an angle. So when you get a 34, please don't just write 34, but bring your degree symbol. Any questions? If you don't have any questions, can we move on to the next one? But we'll be doing more of this. As I said, this every Saturday tutorials has come to stay. Unless maybe if I have to go somewhere, go to the hospital or something, that's when maybe it might not come on. But once I'm at home, it should come on. Let's just pray that we don't have any power outage. Okay, so we are going to move to the next question. And then to move to the next question, okay, I get the answers popping in. That's fine. I think we are on course. To move to the next question, I would have to chop off. I don't know if I can use this side to calculate. Okay, I think it will work. It should be enough. So the next question says that a man traveled a distance of 1.5 kilometers in 30 minutes. What distance can he cover in 50 minutes? Traveling at the same speed. So the statement traveling at the same speed is actually important because the rate of change in the speed can change the time that the man will use. Okay, the rate of speed can actually change the time the man will use. So quickly, this one we are just going to be using if more or less divide. It's just ratio. You can use ratio, you can use fraction, you can use if more or less divide, whichever method you want to use, because it's actually rates. Okay, rates. We are dealing with rates. Okay. So it basically means that we have 1.5 kilometers equals 30 minutes at the same speed, so it will be equal to 30 minutes, so we are allowed to. And then so 50 minutes, what's it going to give us? X. Remember, the x is what is going to determine whether we are going to do if more less divide or if less more divide. Now 30 minutes give us 1.5 kilometers. 50 minutes should give us more distance, right? 50 should give us more distance. So the x is more. If more, let's divide. Which one is the more? 50, because that is for the x. Which one is the less? 30. And then we multiply it by the 1.5. If you are not comfortable with dealing with 1.5, all you need to do, this 1.5 is the same as over 1. So all you need to flip and then put 0 here. So at the end of the day, it becomes 15 over what? 10. Okay, so let's just do that. So 50 over 30 times what? 15 over what? 10. So when you do it this way, it becomes easy. You can cancel and do all the gimmicks and all that. So, and that one will help you get your answer easily. So we'll have 15 here, 1, 15 here, 2. And then we'll have 10 here, 1, 10 here, 5. Rewriting this, we'll have 5 over 2 times 1 over 1, which will end up giving us 5 over 2. And then when we send it to decimal form, they didn't tell us to put in decimal. So if you are not comfortable changing it to decimals, don't worry. You can just actually write 5 over 2 kilometers. But with this one, 5 dividing it into 2 parts should give you 2.5. Everyone should be able to know that. And your answer is 2.5. Someone, Derek Kofi, is saying that, sir, please, what does it mean when they are double? If they are double, it means the same thing. So let me go back and use this opportunity to explain this. If I have one stripe, it means they are equal. If I have two stripe, it means they are equal. But they will not be equal if I have 2 stripes and I have 1 stripe here. This is telling me that they are not equal. If I have 2 stripes on one line or one side of the triangle, and I have another just 1 stripe on one side, it means those 2 sides are not equal. But if you have the same number of stripes on both sides, then it means they are equal. Okay, so sometimes they will actually do double stripes. It means they are equal. It means the same thing. Okay, the reason why they will do double is that you can have a very scary question like this. You have double here, and then you have 1 somewhere here. The reason why they'll do double is that there's actually a portion that they want to add the stripes to, but it's just 1 stripe that they are adding. So they need to differentiate it. Okay, fantastic. Let me know if that explanation is okay. So that's the answer. The answer is 2.5 km, kilometers. If you have any issues, let me know. If you are okay, kindly give me a thumbs up so that we can move to the next question. So thumbs up so that I can move to the next question. Okay, fantastic, Derek Kofi. Who is Derek Kofi? Are you in Richard School? Can you let us know who you are so that we can acknowledge you anytime you join us every Saturday? Okay, so I'm getting thumbs up, so it means that I can flow. So let me flow. Okay, so the next question we have in a test consisting of 90 questions. In a test consisting of 90 questions. In a test consisting of 90 questions. Amma answered 75% of the first 40 questions correct. Oh, okay, Derek. Derek is in a different school. We appreciate that you are here. Can you also inform your classmates and friends so that they can also join and learn? Let us know if you are in Form 3 so that if you have any extra materials to help you with, we can actually help you with those materials. So yeah, so in a test consisting of 90 questions, Amma answered 75% of the first 40 questions correct. If she had to get a score of 80% in the test, how many? Okay, fantastic. So most of these things are being done for both Form 3, which are BC candidates, and Form 2 students. So feel free to tell your classmates about it. Feel free to also join us anytime. If you have any issues, to kindly let us know, and then we'll see how best we can help you. Okay, so let's go back. In a test consisting of 90 questions, Amma answered 75. I think I've read that already. So they are saying that how many questions did Amma answer correctly out of the 40 questions? So the number of questions answered correctly for the first 40, okay, Amma answered 75% of the first 40. So let's take note. When you get a question like this, it's okay to take a pen and then be crossing out so that you can remove the data, the clues, remove them. Okay, that is what is going to help you answer your questions easy. So 75% of the first 40 questions correctly. And then they are saying how many questions did you answer correctly out of the 45. Sometimes when you read a question and you don't do all this sketches on the question, you'll be scared that, what is this plenty percentage and questions and 90 questions and all that? But you see, 75% of the 40 questions were correct. How many questions out of the 40? That's what they are trying to say you should find. Okay, so in order to do so, all we need to do is that we need to know 75 questions out of the 40. So we need to find 75% of 40. So 75% of 40. And 75% is actually 75 over 100. Let me clean this. 75 over 100. So 75 over off means multiplication, not the off in board math. Okay, the off in board math means order. So off means multiplication here, not the off in board math. Okay, so once we have this, we can go ahead and then do our simplification, because you just want to know the number of questions he was able to answer correctly out of the 40. If they are saying that he was able to answer 75% correctly, we are just finding 75% of the question. So we'll cancel, and then we'll end up getting 75 over 10 times 4. Okay, so we'll use 5. We are going to use 5. So 5 here, 2. 5 into 75, what would that give us? 5 into 75, quickly in the chat section. 5 into 75. I think if I make this a bit interactive, it will slow the whole pace of the thing, right? So let me just go ahead. That will give us 15. So we'll have 2 and then 15. So let me just use the blue marker. So that will be 15 over 2 times 4. 2 here, 1, 2 here, 2. And that will give us 30. So we'll just do a statement. Therefore, Amma was able to answer 30 questions correctly out of the 40. Okay? Therefore, Amma was able to answer 30 questions correctly out of the 40. Please don't just write equals 30 and leave it. You lose 2 marks if you are a candidate preparing for any form of exams, because this is a word problem and answer should be in statement form. Trust me, it should be in statement form. They will not tell you, most teachers won't tell you, but when examiners are marking, they are told to deduct marks for answers that are written like what I've done on the board. So you need to put a statement to it. So the statement can be therefore, that's the statement I'm saying. Therefore, Amma answered 30 questions correctly out of the 40 questions. If you are okay with this, let me know in the chat section so that I can move on. If you are okay with this, let me know in the chat section so that I can move on. Okay, yeah, 15. Fantastic. Oh, okay. Agent Blue Tie is saying that she doesn't think, hey, is it a he or she? Who is Agent Blue Tie? Doesn't know if he doesn't think it would be too slow. So who is Agent Blue Tie? So if it's not going to be too slow, then I should make it interactive. Okay, sure, I'll do my best. Okay, so basically that is it for the first part, which is the I. How many questions should she answer correctly out of the 90 questions? In order to get 80%, how many questions should she answer correctly out of the 90? So with this one, it's very, 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 very simple. It's just like the first one. He said what? If she had to get a score of 80% in the test. Remember the test now? You see, they've introduced 40 and 90, so you'll be confused as to which one you need to use. Okay, so Harry is the agent blue tie. Oh, okay. So now they are saying that out of how many questions should she answer correctly out of the 90 questions in order to get 80%? In order to get 80, not 75%. The 75% is linked to the 40. Now 80% should be linked to the 90. Okay, so now we are going to find 80% of the 90 questions. In order to get 80%, maybe the 80% is their pass mark. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so 80% of 90 questions. So that would be 80 over 100. Please be doing the calculations and tell me the answer. This should be easy and straightforward. Cancel, cancel, cancel. So at the end of it, it will be 8 over what? 1 times 9. 8, 9. People are chewing their pens. 8, 9. Hey, 8. I've already written it down. Okay, Elon was able to give me the answer. Fantastic. So 8, 9 is 72. So out of the 90 questions, in order for Amma to score 80%, Amma should be able to answer 72 questions correctly. So you see, with this one, it should even apply to you and how you go into your exams. You should be able to do some of these calculations. Okay, so if I want to get 80, how many questions should I be able to get correctly? Okay, so those questions, which topics should I surround those questions with? Which topics will help me answer those? Do you get it? So that you know. But, well, the best thing is to just learn and learn well and go and write. Now, let's move to the third one. Sorry about that. The third one, I think, okay, I'll just do it down here. When I'm done, I'll clean it. The third one says that what percentage of the remaining 50 questions should she answer correctly in order to get the 80%? So you see, the issue now is that to get the 80%, Amma should be able to answer 72 of the questions correctly. She was able, out of the 40, the first 40, she was able to answer 30 correctly. 40, 30. So it means it's left with what? 50 of that, right? So out of the 50, how many questions should Amma answer correctly in order to get the 80%? Amma answered 75% of the 40 questions correctly. And that 75% of the 40 questions gave us what? 30 questions. So it means that the first 40 questions, Amma was able to get 30 of them correct. Fantastic. Now, in order to get 80% of the 90 questions correct, Amma should be able to answer 72 questions correct. Already, we know Amma has been able to answer 30 correct. But now we are saying that Amma, for you to get 80%, which is the pass mark, you need to answer 72 correct. So, out of that 50 that is left, because Amma has answered 40 already, out of that 50 that is left, how many questions should Amma answer in order to get that 80% score, which will be the 72 questions? This is very simple, straightforward. All you need to do is to subtract 72 minus 30. All the plenty grammar I was saying is basically for you to subtract. And that's going to give us 42. Because if first 40 I answered 30, it's left with 50. Out of that 50, how many questions should I answer in order to get my 72 questions correct? And that's 42. So if I'm able to answer 30 in the first 40 and 52 in the last 50, and I add all of them, I'll get to a 72. And that 72 represents the 80%, which is the pass mark. Okay? Some of these things are not so difficult, but it's just that you just have to pay attention and also decorate your questions like this. When you decorate your questions like this, you should be able to get your answer. You should be able to fish out the clues to get an easy solution to the answers. Okay, so that's it for this particular question. Let's look at the B part of it. The B part of it is polygons. Polygons. For Richard School students, we did polygons before this corona thing came in. So I'm just going to build upon that, but I'll try and treat the topic as if we've not done it. Okay, so I'll bring out the formula, I'll explain the formula, I'll explain what polygons are and all that. So without wasting time, let's do that quickly. Agent Blue Tie said we should feel free because it is for them and it is their time and they are ready. Yes, I believe so, because I know out of 100 and something students, I only have It says what percentage. Oh, okay, sorry. What percentage? So if we've done 42, okay, we've established that it's 42. So to find a percentage is actually referring to the 90%. So it becomes 42 over what? 90 times what? 100. Okay, and then we'll just do the calculations. Let me see if I can do this quickly. 42. Oh, not to the hand. It's sorry. Not to the 100. It's to the not to the 90. It's to the 50. What percentage of the remaining 50? Okay, what percentage of the remaining 50? I think I'm rushing too much. I need to slow down and pay attention to what I'm doing, because we've done 1 hour and we have about a few more questions. Yeah, a few more questions to go. So that's why I'm rushing, so that we don't waste anyone's time. But I'll just take the advice of Agent Blue Tie and then relax. So they said what percentage of the 50 questions should she answer correctly in order to get 80%? Okay, so 50 questions, what percentage? So we've established that she's supposed to answer 42 questions correctly in order to get the 80%. So out of that 50 questions, what percentage of the 50 questions? We just have to put 50 here, and then we'll do our cancellations. 50 here 1, 50 here 2. So when we multiply, we'll get 84. So 84% of that 50. So 84% of that 84 should give us 84% should give us 42. 84% of that 50 questions should be able to help Amma get the 80%. Okay. Okay, so please help Resali P out to be able to get his or her screen sorted out. Fantastic. So once we have that, I think we are okay, right? If we are okay, if I've not left anything out, if I've not left anything out, can I move to the next question? If I can move to the next question, can you give me a thumbs up in the chat section? And thank you for letting me slow down a bit. So can you give me thumbs up in the chat section? Okay, fantastic. Elon is saying we can move forward. So let's move forward. So moving forward, we have we have a polygon question. Now polygons are basically, what's even the definition for polygons? Let me see if I remember. Yeah, polygons are basically shapes. Okay, they are shapes that have straight edges and they are enclosed. Shapes with straight edges and they are enclosed. A circle cannot be a polygon because it doesn't have a straight edge. It has a round edge. This cannot be a polygon because it has a straight edge but it's not enclosed. So once I close it, it is a polygon. So it means from triangle all the way to all the gons, polygons, pentagon, and all those things are what? Polygons. Okay, that's how come we even get their names. The gon at the end of it, which is what? Affix. Okay, so that's the definition for a polygon. So a circle is not a polygon because it doesn't have a straight, even though it's enclosed, it doesn't have a straight edge. So that's the definition. So a polygon should be closed. It should be a closed shape and it should have a straight edge. That's the definition of a polygon. Okay, so some of these things you just have to keep it at your fingertips, because sometimes when you go to write exams, there's section A, they normally bring this, especially if they want critical thinkers. They normally bring this sort of simple questions for you to answer. Okay, so having that, I'm not going to bother you with the types of polygons, triangle, rectangle, which is four-sided. They are not really called rectangle, they are called quadrilaterals. Before you move to the pentagon, hexagon, and all those things, that one you have to go and read on your own. We are here to do the calculation. So that they are saying that 3 interior angles of a polygon are 100, 120, and 108 degrees respectively. I'm putting respectively there because of the degrees that I brought at the end. Find the size of each of the remaining 2 interior angles. If one of them is 3 times the other. Okay, don't get confused. It's very, very easy and self-explanatory. Okay, it's very easy and self-explanatory. So look at it, 1, 2, 3, and then they said, well, 2 of the remaining. So with this one, we actually need the number of sides of the polygons. Now the number of sides of the polygons is always equal to the number of angles in a polygon. So if I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I have this is a pentagon. A pentagon has 5 sides, and because it has 5 sides, it should have 5 angles in it. These angles are called interior angles. A pentagon should also have what? Exterior angles. A pentagon should have exterior angles, and the exterior angles should also be equal to the number of sides of the pentagon. Okay, so let's take note of that. The pentagon should also have what? An exterior angle. It should have an interior angle. If a pentagon has 5 sides, the angles in it should be 5. The exterior angles outside of it should also be what? 5. So we've now established that this is what? A pentagon. We are dealing with a pentagon. Now, in order to solve this and to make this easy, once they made mention of the size of the angles in it, what it means is that we should how do I even say it? What it means is that we should actually find the sum of interior angles of what? The polygon, which is the pentagon. So interior angles, sum of interior angles. There's a formula to do that. 180 into brackets n minus 2. How many of you remember this formula? If you remember this formula from length 10, can you give me a thumbs up if you remember this formula from length 10? 180, the 180 is multiplying, so you can decide to bring the multiplication, but because it is a bracket, so we will leave it that way because brackets means multiplication. Fantastic. Yeah, so 180 times 10, what am I saying times 10? 180 times into brackets n minus 2. Now what is n? N is actually the number of sides of the polygon. Now this time around, they didn't give us the number of sides of the polygon, but they gave us the number of angles in the polygon. When you study the question carefully, the number of interior angles was not even given directly that it has 5 interior angles. No, they stated 3 and then they said the 2 remaining. So when we add all of them, at the end of the day, we should know the number of what? Interior angles we are doing. In this case, 3 and then 2 remaining means 5. So n is 5. Our n is equal to 5. So we'll have 180 times 10. 180 times 10. Sorry, 180 into brackets 5 minus 2. And then that will be 180 times what? 3. Because we subtract, and then 180 times 3 should give us 54 degrees. Okay, 54 degrees. Now once we have 54 degrees, that is the sum of angles. We'll go back. This statement is very important. This whole statement, the last aspect of it, is very, very important. The last statement or sentence is very important. Find the size of each of the remaining 2. So it means that we are going to be looking for 2 interior angles. Find the size of each of the remaining 2. If one is 3 times the other, so we assume that the 1 and then we have 3x. Okay, so we have this as an angle, we have this as an angle, plus this 3. So we can just put all of them together and equate it to this, because they are saying the sum of its interior angles should be equal to what? 540. So it becomes x plus what? 3x plus what? 100 degrees plus 120 degrees plus what? 108 degrees should be equal to 540. So let me put the degrees here quickly. I'm using my phone to monitor this, but my phone is off, so let me take the charger quickly and then plug it in. So just give me 1 minute. So whilst you are waiting for me to plug my phone, kindly find the value of x from the equation I've written on the board. So I'm back My phone is plugged in, so we'll just wait for it to turn on. So what will be the value? I can't even see if you've written it, so I'll just go ahead and answer it. So answering it, we just have to simplify. This will end up giving us, how do you call it, 4x. And then when we add all this should give us 328, yes. 328 degrees equals 540 degrees. Sorry. So 540 degrees. And then we have to simplify x equals 4x equals 540 degrees minus 328 degrees. What do you think will be the answer? I think it should be 212 degrees, okay. And then we'll divide both sides by 4 to get the value. When we divide both sides by 4 will go into this 3 times, 4 will go into this 40 times, so that will be 50 times, so that will be 53. So the answer, x is equal to 53 degrees. Now, so that is it for the first one. And that one, which represents the x, is equal to what? 53 degrees. It's 3 times the other, so the other one is 3 times this, so we have to just multiply to find the 3x is 3 times of 53, which should give us 159 degrees. So the two angles, the first one is 53 degrees, which represents the x, and then the second one, which is 3x, is what? 159 degrees. We'll be doing more of this. Okay, so it's all about trying to build some form of algebra, knowledge of algebra from every single thing that is given to you for this particular question to be answered. So we actually developed the algebra for it. 3 times more the other. What does it mean? 3 times more means what? 3 times whatever you have there. So 3x. You fix all that in, and then we end up solving this. So I think that's the answer, and we are good to go on this question. If you are okay, my phone is still out, but it should come on anytime soon. So I'm just going to move on. But once it comes on, I'll prompt you so that if you have any issue with this particular question, you let me know so that I can go back and resolve it. But so then let's just answer the plane geometry question you see on your screen. So with the plane geometry question, let me just check my... Let me just use this side to check if everything is okay. So please tell me, let me know if okay, fantastic. Please give me a thumbs up. I can see my YouTube. Give me a thumbs up if everything is okay. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, fantastic. Elon, thank you very much. I can see, so I can go back to just to be sure that everything is working. Just to be sure that everything is working. Okay, I think my phone is on, so let me go back and then monitor so that we can start, because I don't want to leave anyone behind. I don't want to leave anyone behind. So whilst you are waiting, let me know if it's a good idea to have this every Saturday. Let me know if it's a good idea to have every Saturday by commenting yes in the chat section. Let me know if it is okay to have this every single Saturday. The goal is to be able to finish most of the past questions before we even write BEC next year. Remember, next year is just 3 months or 4 months away. Let me say 3 months away. 4 months, 3 months, whichever away. Okay, so if it's okay, that's fine. I'm getting a lot of yes, so yeah, I'll put that into consideration. So we have this. Now, having this, we've already discussed what it means to have those stripes. We've already discussed what it means to have those stripes, okay? So let me clean this and then make a copy of the diagram so that I can actually draw on it to explain. Oh no, I'm not selecting that. Oh no, come on. Let me just use the eraser. Okay. Copy. Paste. Fantastic. So it has been pasted, so now I can take my pen and then write on it. Now, from the explanation I gave for this, when we were solving this, the stripes, okay? The stripes means that what? The angles here. Okay. The angles here are equal. If the angles here are equal, I can decide to name them x and what? X. So now I'll take this whole triangle to be what? 180 equal to 180. So I'll have 50 plus x equals what? 180 degrees. Once I've established that, then I can go ahead to simplify to find the value of x, which represents each of what? The angles here, because I need that to find the value of what? X over here. Okay, so once I have that, this 30, sometimes they just bring the 30 to how will I even say it, to confuse you. But from the look of the sub questions we have here, it looks as if we will be finding an angle that we will need to use the 30. So let's just relax, but the 30 should not be used for this aspect of finding the value of x. Finding the value of x is the first thing we've been asked to do. So that will be 2x plus, well, who knows the answer to the value of x? If you know it, kindly send it in the chat section. If you know it, kindly send it in the chat section. Hi Elizabeth. Elizabeth, are you in Richard School or you are a student from another school? Kindly let us know. We want to welcome you all. So Elom has produced the answer, but let's solve to see if it's correct. So subtracting, we'll have 65. Is it 65? 165 or 65? Look, I'm making Elon confuse me. It's 130. So 130 and then 2x. We'll divide both sides by 2. That's when we'll get a 65. X is what? 65 degrees. So it means this side of the, let me clean it. This side will be equal to, let me change the color of the marker. This side will be equal to 65. If this side is equal to 65, then we can do supplementary angles in order to find the value of x. So that will be 65 plus what? This whole angle, this is 7x minus 225 equal 180. Remember, supplementary angles are supposed to be equal to 180 degrees because they are angles on a straight line. So 65 plus that. So let's simplify it. Simplifying it, will have 7x plus 65 minus what? 25. I think this my 65 looks horrible. So let me just, equals 180 degrees. So during the subtraction, we should have 40. If you know the value of x, let me know. Not the first value of x, I mean the second one. Okay, Lisbeth is from another school. Okay, that's okay. What form are you in? So 180, we'll subtract 40 from it. And then we'll have 140. We'll divide both sides by 7. 7 here, 1. 7 into 14, 2. So 20. So x equals 20. So the value of x here is equal to what? 20. Why is it important for us to find the value of x? The sub-question is dependent on the value of x. How is it dependent on the value of x? Now, let's look at the sub-question. They say we should find angle DAC, which means this angle, this small angle over here. If you are going to find angle DAC, and then we are able to find the value of this angle, we already have been given the angle of this value, the value of this angle. When we add or and we just represent this by a variable, which I will use a, then we should be able to find a. Okay, now we can't work when we have a variable inside this, so we can just quickly fix this x into this in order to get the full value of this angle. In order to do so, what you need to do is you can name the angle, and the angle is ACD. Once C is in the middle, that's fine. So ACD equal 7x plus, no, it's minus, sorry, 7x minus 25. We know x, which is 20, so 7 into bracket 20 minus 25. Okay, and that's going to give us 140 minus 25, and that's going to give us 115 degrees. Is it 115? Let me know. 1-3, fantastic. Okay, fantastic. So Elizabeth, before class, I'll leave my email with you, okay, so that anything, any of the slides or questions or extra materials I'll have, I can forward it to you. Okay, so I'll leave my email in the chat section now. If you are watching me from any other school, just send me an email so that if I have any material, I don't have a pop, but if I have any material that will help you, I can send it to you. So I'm just typing, just a minute, I'm just typing my email address for other students who are watching me and are not in Great Church School. Okay, so please, what will be the answer? Is it correct? The 115. Yeah. So Elizabeth, that's my email address. You can just send me a hi, and then I'll forward some 1 or 2 things to you so that you can share with your mates and then practice with it. Okay, so 115. Please let me know if it is correct. Is it 155? Oh, 115. I kept on saying 155. 115. Yeah, so it's correct. So that's the value of that angle there. So now we know that value, so we will say that angle, we are trying to answer this. So angle DAC equal A. I'm representing the angle they are saying we should find with A. A plus 115 plus 30, okay, should be equal to 180 degrees. Why 180 degrees? Because this is a triangle, and in a triangle, the sum of angles in a triangle is equal to 180. So we'll quickly do A plus what? 145. Is it 145? Yes, 145 equals 180 degrees. A should be equal to, what's the answer? What's the answer to A? Minus 145 degrees. Okay, so let's see. This should give us 35, right? So A is equal to 35 degrees. Fantastic. Elom, yeah, you got that correct, 35. So A is equal to 35 degrees. Now they are saying that find angle DAB. Angle DAB. BAD. So is this whole angle? So with this one, you know that this is 50, and you've already found A. So all you need to do is to add them. So angle DAB is this whole place. Okay, this whole place. Let me do it here. This whole place. You already know that this is 50. You've already found this, which is the A, which is what, the 35. So you just have to add it. So in the nutshell, angle it will be let me put it this way, will be 50 plus 35, which will give us 85 degrees. Okay, so you see the way they've actually structured this whole thing. They've structured it in a way that the first answer is dependent on the second, and the second is dependent on the first and the second. Do you get it? So if you make a mistake in finding the first, everything is going to be wrong. Assuming in the process of finding this x, I get it wrong, It basically means it's going to affect this, it's going to affect that, it's going to affect that. So once you make one mistake, the whole thing is wrong. That's why you need to be careful when you are doing this. You need to have time to go over your work when you are solving this. Okay? So this is what is going to happen. We've done 1 hour 38 minutes. I want to know if we should continue, okay, or we should end and continue next week. Because I was thinking maybe we'll finish this and next week we'll take a new set of questions. So let's discuss quickly. If we should continue, just type continue in the chat section. If you should end and continue next week, type end in the chat section. Quickly, let's do that, let's do that, let's do that, let's do that. Okay, so Budu is saying end, Rebecca is saying end, Jody is saying continue. Yeah, to be posted, so you can come and have a look at it. So I think, okay, we have end and continue. Who? Some people are not serious. Okay, so Elom is saying continue, Josephine is saying continue, Boajon is saying end, and unfortunately, Mr. Bluta is saying end. Okay, the Form 3, Elizabeth is saying we should continue, Prince Alipi is saying we should continue. So it will be posted later. So what I think is that I'll just try and finish it so that later when you want to come back and watch, you can watch. It will be posted. Okay, it will be on YouTube. So I'll just continue for those who want to continue. So that those who want to go, that's fine. Later when you want to come and watch, you can watch. But I think if you watch it in real time, it is more fun compared to you watching it later. Okay, so we'll move to the next question. The next question is a cylinder question. It's a cylinder question. Oh, okay. So with the cylinder question, what they are trying to make us do is that they want us to find the they want us to find the surface area of the cylinder, and also they want us to find the volume of the cylinder. So we are going to do both of okay, Tivia is saying continue because I have 3. Okay, Rebecca, but I thought you said I should end. Okay, Kevin is, oh, okay, so people are watching. That's nice. That's fine. So we are going to continue now. We are going to find the cylinder, the total surface area of the cylinder, and then we would continue to the main question, which is down here. Then we'll look at the diagram here, and then we'll look at this, and then we'll call it a day. So let me just quickly do the cylinder question. Now the cylinder question, they are saying that a cylinder which has a height of 90 centimeters and a diameter of 14 centimeters is closed at both ends. There's a meaning to that. What is the total surface area of the cylinder? Find the volume of the cylinder. Now, so if we should draw the net of a cylinder closed at both ends, let me see if I can get a shape to do that for me. So we have this, which is, I'm drawing the net, okay? Okay, so if I have a cylinder, this will be the net of my cylinder, because they are saying the cylinder is closed at what? Both ends. The cylinder is closed at both ends. That statement is very, very important. So closed at both ends will have 2 circles. Okay, closed at both ends will have 2 circles. When it is open at one end, it means one end is closed and the other end is not closed. So one circle will go off. It will only have 1 circle. This is important because when you are calculating curved surface area of a given cylinder, you need to consider all the shapes that will form that particular cylinder or that particular solid shape that they are referring to. once you know the net, you can calculate the various shapes that will come back to form, or that will join to form that particular solid shape. So that's what we are going to be doing. So it means that we need to calculate the area for circle 1, area for circle 2, and we also need to calculate the area for this particular. Now, this is not a normal rectangle, okay? Because if you are folding, this rectangle will go round. Okay, so its length is going to be slightly different from its what? Height. It's not going to be the length times width to get the area. No, its length, because it curves, it's going to have some form of pi in it. It's going to have some form of whatever height and all those things as its length and then width. So let's quickly discover that, okay? But first of all, they gave us diameter. So you see, when you get a question like this, try and highlight some of the things. They gave you diameter, but what do you really need? You need radius. So quickly change your diameter to what? Radius. So changing your diameter is actually what? Radius divided by 2. So it will be 14 divided by 2, which will give us 7 centimeters. So it means our radius is what? 7. So what have I done? Look at me. Radius is actually diameter divided by 2. Radius is diameter divided by 2 instead. So our radius will be 14 over 2, and our radius will be 7 centimeters. Okay, fantastic. Okay, please let's reduce the charting in the chat section, okay, so that people don't get distracted. So once we've established that this is our radius 7 centimeters, what's going to happen is that we need to find the curved surface area. Now the curved surface area, you can do two things. I can decide to explain the whole process to you so that you can actually go ahead to get the, did I say curved surface? Total surface area. I can decide to explain the whole process to you, and I can decide to also write the formula down for you. Okay, to use the formula, it is just 2 pi r h into brackets h plus r. So you can decide to use this to find the curved surface, the total surface area, or you can go the traditional way of finding the area for the circle 1, finding the area for circle 2. But for both circles, all you need is to find the area for one circle and multiply it by 2, and then also finding the area for this. But for the purpose and the time factor, we'll go into the breakdown. I think I have lessons that I actually break this down on YouTube. You can check this out, but this is the simplest formula you can use. Okay, 2 pi r h into brackets h plus r, total surface area of a cylinder closed at both ends. A cylinder closed at both ends. This is the formula. I think when you open Aquila, you should have all the formula. A cylinder closed at both ends, a cylinder open at both ends, which is the same as a cylinder open at one end. Okay, a cylinder open at one end, a cylinder closed at one end, a cylinder open at one end is the same as a hollow cylinder. They all have their formulas developed in Aquila, so you can actually pay attention to that. But for the purposes of this tutorial, that's the formula, so we are just going to fix that in. They've actually given us pi to be 22/7, so I'm just going to change my marker and then we'll go dive deep. So 2 into brackets pi 22/7. Please be doing the calculation with me so that we can flow. And then we have times what? R is 7 times what? The height. The height is 90 centimeters. 90 centimeters. 90 centimeters. So we'll add the 90 into bracket, 90 centimeters plus what? 7 centimeters. Okay, then this 7 will cancel the 7 since it's multiplication throughout. Okay, we'll just do the addition to this, so it becomes 22 2 times 22 times what? 90 times into bracket. This should give us 97, and then we'll solve that. So please kindly solve that quickly. But then again, I'm not really comfortable with this formula. I prefer to break the whole thing down and then get the answer to it. So solve this. Because of time factor, it's almost 3, almost getting to 3 o'clock. I'll leave this for you as a form of assignment. So try this quickly. Okay, you use this formula to get the answer and also find the individual shapes. Okay, now with this one, the height is going to be our width, and then the length is going to be the circumference of a circle, which is what, 2 pi r. Okay, so that's how you are going to find the size of this. And this one is also this one is pi r squared. Sorry, let me clean it, because it's area, pi r squared. This one is also pi r squared. So you can use this to find the angle and then you compare. But we are going to move to the next one, which is actually the mean, the solution to the mean question, the solution to the mean question that we need to solve. The solution to the mean question we need to solve, basically, we should have, it's very straightforward. It's very straightforward. So they are saying Amma scored 82, 74, and 90 in 3 tests. What mark should she score in the 4 tests in order to get an average of 40? So we don't know the mark. So average basically means mean. And to find the mean of a given data, you add everything and divide it by the number of data that has been given to you. Okay? And then you add it to the number that has been given to you. Who is Derek Oparieje? So you add it to the mean that has been given. Derek Oparieje, are you with us in Richard School? Your name is familiar, like Mr. Oparieje in Richard School. Okay, so you add it to the mean that has been given to you. So in order to do so, it basically means we'll have 82 plus 47 plus 90 plus the fourth one that we don't know, which is x, divided by the number of data, because once they said 4, so it means we are going to be dividing it by what? 4. Oh, Derek Kofi, you've changed your name. Okay, that's fine. Then we are going to equate it to 85, because they are saying that the average mark is what? 85. So average also means mean. So in statistics, sometimes they'll not say find the mean, they'll say find the average. It's the same thing. So once we've established this, what we are going to do is to try and get rid of the 4. So the 4 is divided, when it goes to this side, is going to what? Multiply. So someone should be doing that whilst I sum this up. Someone should be doing that for me whilst I sum that up quickly. So summing this up, we should get 82 plus 74, 82 plus 74 plus 90. I think that should give us 170. So 170 plus x all over. Okay, the 4 has been sent to the other side already. So that will give us, I think I'm getting tired, but we'll close soon. I just want to finish and then we'll close. Okay, so the 85 times 4 is 804. No, it's not 840-ish. 340, sorry. So 70x. So 340 minus 170. So what will be the answer? What will be the answer? Please in the chat section, let's make this fast. Oh, it will be 170 now. Hey, how come 170? Why 170? Are you guys there? Please give me a minute and let me sip some water. I'll be just 1 minute. The water is just here, so let me just sip it and then we'll continue. There's a mistake with this. Yeah, okay, there's a mistake with this. So let me clean it and then do that quickly. It's not 170, it's supposed to be more than that. It's supposed to be 200 and something. What let me do the addition. Well, 82 plus what, 74 plus 90. So this will give me 6. That should give me 16. So this will be 246. Okay, not 170. So 246 plus x equals 340. And then 340 minus 246, because if you get 170, that's way too much. That's more than 100% in a test. No. So you see, some of these things should actually help you check. So when we check it, we should get our answer to be, I think, 94. So the answer is 94 for the first part. The second part is saying that what was her median score for the 4 tests. Median score for the 4 tests, once we know that the 4 tests, all we need to do is to line them up in order. Okay, so 74 followed by what? 82 followed by 90 followed by 94. Okay, so we cancel, it left to 2. So 82 plus 90 all over 2, because we have 2 data in the middle. You have to order it from smallest to biggest or biggest to smallest. Okay, it should be ordered. Don't leave it that way. They are saying the median, so the same way you find the median for a given data is the same way you are going to use the scores of the class test to find this. So when we add the 2, we should have 172 divided by 2 should give us 86. Yeah, I think 86. So it means the median score is 86. The score for the 4th test should be 94. Okay, please, because all this is word problem, please kindly put your answer in a statement form. Kindly put your answer in a statement form. Fantastic. So we are going to move to the next one. Now the next one, basically, we are going to use Pythagoras theorem to solve this. In the diagram shown, a ladder AB, so this is a ladder AB, this is it, a ladder AB, which leans against a vertical wall PQ. So this is the vertical wall PQ. So they've given you, so with this one, what you do is that you take your pencil, you see that it forms a triangle. Okay, so B, we have here P, and then we have here A. Now they are saying that you should find the length of the ladder. So this is it. They've given you this to be 6, and they've given you this to be that. Now let me just quickly use this opportunity. This will form 90 degrees. Okay, a ladder against a vertical wall should give you a 90 degrees, which will give you a right angle triangle. So 90 degrees right angle triangle. To name this, we have an angle here which will be called theta. This will be the adjacent, this will be the opposite, and this will be the hypotenuse. Okay, the hypotenuse. Now, why is this important? This is, let's assume this is what? C, this is A, this is B. The formula for finding Pythagoras theorem, or the formula for Pythagoras theorem, is what? C squared equals A squared plus what? B squared. So now they are saying you should find C, right? So in order to find C, it is root of A squared plus what? B squared. Why root? Because if you want to get rid of this root sign, we need to apply square root. So if I apply square root, let me just use a different marker to do that so that people get the understanding. This will cancel. That's how come we have this. We are going to apply the same concept. Now this same concept, comparing this, the 6 is the adjacent, the 8 is the opposite. So we are just going to replace it. And then the c is the x. So replacing it becomes x equals root of what? 6. It doesn't matter since it's addition. Anyone can come first. So having that, we will continue. And then when we continue, we should get... Okay, Rebecca, thank you very much. The mean is 86. When we continue, this should give us 6, 6, 36. 8, 8. What is 8, 8? 8, 8 is, I think, 64 or something. No. Yes, 64. Okay, so root of that, and then we have this. Now we will continue by doing the summation, and then we'll see if we can find the root of that. So we have 36 plus 64. 36 plus 64. What do you think will be the answer? 100. 4 plus 6, that plus that's 90, so that's 100. So 100, and then we have the root. Root of 100 basically means what two numbers will multiply. Same numbers will multiply to give us 100. 10, 10, 100. 10, 10, 100. When you're in class 1, you're shouting this, but you're not paying much attention. 10, 10, 100. So it means root of 100 is what? 10. So it means the value or the length of the ladder is 10 centimeters. So that's how you answer that particular question. Okay, that's how you answer that particular question. So it means we are done with the ladder. That we will go to the last question. The last question. Go to the last question. Now the last question says that Kojo had 1,800 bags of rice in stock for sale. In January, Kojo sold 2/3 of it. In February, Kojo sold 3/4 of what was left. That statement is very important. What was left? What was left is very, very important. So I'm going to highlight that. What is the fraction, or what fraction of stock of rice did he sell in February? So let's find the stock of rice or bags of rice he sold in February. First of all, we need to find what he sold in January and then what was left. Okay, so in terms of fractions, okay, or what fraction? So the first one, Kojo had 1,800 bags, which is one whole, and then he sold 2/3 of it. So we have to subtract that from one whole. To do that subtraction, this one, you just have to look at what the denominator. The denominator is 3, so it will be 3/3, which will give us 1 whole minus 2/3. And then when you do the subtraction, it is what? 3/2/3, and then we will have 1/3. So our answer is 1/3. So the fraction of what he sold, or what he sold, the fraction of what was left after he sold this is 1/3. Now that fraction of what was left, 3/4 of that was sold in February. 3/4 of that. So this is January, February. We want to calculate 3/4 of what was left was sold. So 3/4 of 1/3, because they made a statement that what this was left. Okay, if they had said 3/4 was sold, we would not have done this of 1/3. We would just have done 3/4. But once they stated of what was left, it means we are going to find 3/4 of 1/3. Because after selling 2/3 in January, 1/3 was left. So 3/4 of 1/3 was sold in January. So let's quickly find 3/4 of 1/3. Of means multiplication, not the of in board math, please. The of in board math means order. Okay, so having this, this is normal multiplication, numerator, denominator. If you can break down, you break down. So I will decide to break down. So when I break down, I should have 1/4. So my answer is 1/4. Okay, so this was what was sold in February. This was what was left after they sold 3/3 in January. Now they are saying we should find a fraction of what was sold in February. We've done that. The next one, they are saying that we should find the fraction of rice that was sold in January and February. N is, you are joining the two. So this was what was sold in January, 2/3. And then this was what was sold in February, 1/4. We are just going to add all that. Okay, this is the alpha answer. We are going to add all that. So it becomes 2/3. Remember, the 1/3 is what is left. What was sold is 2/3, which has been given in the question already. Okay, so this was what was sold in January, and we've actually calculated what was sold in February, which is this one. So 1/4. When we add it, since it's an addition, we need to find our LCM. Our LCM will be 12. 3 will go here, 4 times this should give us 8. 4 will go here, 3 times this will give us 3. When we add, we'll get 11/12. So this is the fraction of what was sold in January and February. Now they go ahead to say that how many bags of rice were left unsold by the end of February. How many bags was left unsold by the end of February? Now the number of bags that were left unsold by the end of February, there are two ways to solve this. There are two ways to solve this particular question, but I'm just using the one method because of time factor. Okay, so the first thing we've established is, that, okay, so Derek, thank you, Derek, you've actually gotten the 11/12. So the next thing we need to do is that this was what was sold in January and February. Remember, what was in the warehouse was this, which represents one whole. Okay, it represents one whole. So this one will still represent one whole. So this, all these skirmishes, selling, going to the market and all those things, he was able to sell 11 out of 12 of the one whole. So one whole minus 11 out of 12, and that should give us 12/12 minus 11/12. Why 12/12? Because we are using the denominator for this to do the whole, and then that will give us 1/12. So this is what was left unsold. This is what was left unsold, 1/12. If this is what is left unsold, the total is one whole, which represents 1,800 bags. And then this is what is left unsold. 1/12 is left unsold. So how many bags would that be? That's the question. How many bags would that be? It simply means that we are going to be doing if more or less divide. How do you do if more or less divide? If one whole gave you 1,800 and this, a fraction of 1/12 should give you less. If less, more should divide. Which one is the more? The more is what? The 1. So it becomes 12, 1/12 divided by 1 times 180. Now, because this looks scary, we are going to write it in the traditional form, which is 1/12 divided by 1. Okay? And we'll put it in bracket times 1,800. Now with this, we are just going to reciprocate, which will give us 1/12 times what? The thing is over 1. So whatever you do, it will be times 1 times what? 100 and... Okay? And then when we multiply, let me bring this here, please. Sorry about that. So let me just rewrite the whole thing again. 1 times what? 1,800. Simplifying this 1, so it becomes 100/12. To break this down, 180, we can use 12 to break that down. 12 should go into that 50 times. Is it 50? No, 15, sorry, 15 times. And then that will give us 150. So 150 bags were left unsold. Ladies and gentlemen, I know maybe I did some rushing this last few minutes, but this brings us to the end of today's class. We should be able to get some new set of questions. Please don't go away, because I'll be pasting or later come back and come and check the description of the video. You see the questions, so that you can actually try your hands on it later. by not looking at the solutions, you can just say that maybe tomorrow, Sunday, don't look at the solutions, try your hands on it and see if you get the answers correct, and then we'll see how best you can do it. If you are okay, can you give me a thumbs up in the chat section so that I can say bye-bye? So I'm waiting for your thumbs up. Every single person should sign up, should sign off. Kwame, why are you saying unfortunately? You are most welcome. So my email still has been given. So if you are not from Richard School, can you send me an email so that I can reach out to you whenever. Okay, but we'll be doing this every Saturday at 1. We'll be doing this every Saturday at 1. God willing, if nothing comes up. If something comes up, I think I've reached 1,000 and something. I think I'm almost at 1,002. That's 1.2K or so, whatever they call it. So I have the community. So one day in day, I'll just come to my channel. If there's any announcement, I can post it on YouTube for you to get access to it. Then again, please like the video, subscribe, tell your friends about it, especially those who are from different schools. Tell your friend about it. Let them join us next week so that we can all learn together and get ready for BCE. Elizabeth, please kindly send me an email and let me know. Let's talk, okay? Let's talk. Maybe I'll be able to do some special tutorials for you and your classmates. Okay, so have a nice. Yeah, Charlie, it's not easy for taking my time. By now, I should be watching some Netflix, but I'm here using my data. So, Charlie, you guys should just be praying for me that everything will be okay. God bless you too. Please learn, oh, learn. I beg you, learn. It's very, very important. Please learn, okay? Very, very, very important. You can say all the thank yous and God bless you, but if you don't learn, then you are doing a disservice to me and your parents. So, just learn, okay? And remember, integrity. Uphold integrity. Okay? Okay, so see you and have a nice day. Enjoy your weekend, but don't forget to learn. And I'm expecting by now everyone should have a personal timetable. BEC is next year. It's just 3 months or 4 months away. So everyone should have a personal timetable and be learning. Okay? Okay, fantastic. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. So that's my email. That's my email. You can send me an email. For those who are not from the school, you can send me an email. Let's keep talking. Let's keep chatting. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.